Is there anything I can do for you two? I'm afraid that Wangsheng funeral parlor isn't in the best state to receive guests.
We've come to see Zhongli. Could you please tell him we're here?
Unfortunately, Zhongli isn't here at the moment. It seems he went to Northland Bank.
Doesn't the Northland Bank belong to the Fatui? Last time we saw Zhongli was before we went to the Golden House. Do you think he doesn't know about the attack on Liyue? Visiting the Fatui at a time like this could only mean more trouble. We had better go and make sure that everything is okay.
You call this cooperation between Harbingers? Cooperation involves communication, you know.
Don't take it to heart, child. Besides, aren't you happy that you got to skip the formalities and bring chaos to the land? I'm sure you must have enjoyed that. Oh, it seems that some of your friends have arrived.
Hey, it's Zhongli and Child. And you! You're also one of the Harbingers?
It's you two. I believe we've met once before. In the city of Bards, was it? I'm glad you still remember my name. Ah, right. I imagine that it must have been rather hard to forget watching helplessly as something precious was snatched away from your friend.
No, don't let her get to you! You've yet to gather the powers of all 7 elements, and our last battle at the Golden House was almost more than you could handle. So it might be best to keep things peaceful this time, seeing that 2 of the Harbingers are here.
Well, if it isn't you two. This is our first time seeing each other since Liyue was nearly wiped off the map. This is certainly a bit awkward, wouldn't you say?
Paimon knew that we should never have trusted a Fatui Harbinger.
Oh, now don't say that. Sure, I may have misled you, but I never had anything against you personally. Besides, I thought we were getting along quite well together, didn't you? Except for that little tussle we had at the end. Nothing personal. We just have different views, that's all. Of course, you may very well hold this against me, but that's up to you. The real deceivers here are Senora and Zhongli. Curse them for leading me on. So actually, I think...
Stop wasting time, child. There'll be plenty of time to chat once I'm through here. You remember the agreement, Morax. Now, if you would be so kind. The Gnosis, please.
What in the world are you talking about?
The contract is fulfilled. That which thou seeketh is now bestowed unto thee. For my promise is...
How sanctimonious.
What? So you're the Lord of Chio? No, wait! That's an exciting twist and all, but why give the Gnosis to the Fatui?
I do not give it for free. I give it as agreed upon in the contract. For it is a matter solely between the Tsaritsa and I.
Yeah, you don't think you went a little bit too far with that whole fake death thing? Everyone was preparing the ceremony for you, and splat! This big dragon falls out of the sky, and all of Liyue goes into an uproar. Talk about a disaster.
Gathering all the forces that had been bubbling behind the scenes, and then stirring them together in a pot that was bound to boil over. That's what he wanted to see, am I right?
Wait, what?
Perhaps it's best that I explain. As you know, I've dwelt upon this world for more than 6,000 years. It is now 3,700 years ago that I founded Liyue together with the Adepti. Even boulders that can withstand whirlpools will erode with the passing of time. I kept convincing myself that cracks had not begun to form, and that the end of my time had not yet come. Until one drizzly day, as I was strolling along the harbor, I heard a merchant tell one of his workers, "You've finished your duties. Go ahead and call it a day." I stood motionless among the crowds, asking myself, have I already finished my duties?
Oh, Zhongli.
But as I began to consider relinquishing my divine role, I soon discovered that many reasons still remained to not hastily depart. Was Liyue, the city I had dwelt in for so long, already prepared to enter its next age? I decided that a test was needed in order to reveal the answer. So I feigned my own death, and gathered the cast of Child, the Adepti, and the Liyue Qixing to play their roles together on the stage that was Liyue. Indeed I was. The gnosis which I had kept for so many years suddenly seemed to have lost its meaning. That's right, which is why I continued to safeguard the gnosis until now.
So you mean that if the chaos ever reached the point of no return, you would simply appear and use your divine powers to bring Liyue back under control?
Of course, and it would have been all too easy for him too. Just as a child quickly matures after losing their parents, so has Liyue matured when faced with the death of its deity.
In the end, the resolution to all that has transpired was even more satisfactory than I could have hoped for. Take the Adepti, for instance. Owing to their years of seclusion, they were the least informed. Yet when faced with a crisis, they commendably showed the greatest amount of restraint possible. Not only did they manage to cooperate with the Qixing, but in the end, they even made efforts to understand the hearts of the people. Credit is also due to Signora, the emissary dispatched by the Cryo-Archon to fulfill our contract. At my request, she kept everything she knew in strict confidence. This despite the eavesdropping ears of her colleague, Child. This meant I could remain as Zhongli, even having the chance to fulfill the age-old traditions of Liyue in this mortal form. Thank you for joining me on this journey, traveler. All of these things turned out as I had planned. There is only one thing that I had not anticipated, and that was the conduct of the Liyue Qixing. I had expected them to do no more than the Adepti, to come to the defense of Liyue. But when all was said and done, they seized the opportunity to supplant Liyue's divine protectors, and used the subsequent power vacuum left by my death to quickly gain complete control of Liyue.
Huh? That doesn't sound good at all.
On the contrary, I think it is excellent. I had always feared that it was too soon for them to take over from me. And it was also that which I longed for the most. As such, this is the best parting gift anyone could have given this god of old.
Hey, what about me? Doesn't anyone feel the least bit of remorse for deceiving me? You've practically kept me in the dark!
I think that thanks would be more appropriate. You certainly played no small part in all of this, wreaking havoc and turning the city upside down. The Lord of Geo ought to thank you for your performance, if anything. If you hadn't created the pressure of a battle between mortals, adepti, and a god, the lump of coal resting in the hands of the Geo-Archon, Liyue would never have been able to become a dazzling diamond of a city.
Huh? Just whose side are you on, mocking me like that? Are you itching for a fight? Be that as it may, you've come out of this as the hero of Liyue. I, on the other hand, will be forever prescribed as a disturber of the peace, no?
Well then, with the Gnosis in my possession, I have no use for such idle chatter. We should return to Zapoljarny Palace and seek an audience with Her Majesty, the Tsaritsa. Come, child.
Fine. I'll meet you there later. I'm not sharing a boat with the likes of you.
Do as you wish.
Now then, is there anything else you wish to ask me?
Right! As Zhongli always told us, a good trade is a fair trade. Paimon has no idea what could be a good trade for a Gnosis.
Realistically speaking, there is no such thing.
Huh?
However, I am the god of contracts. For thousands of years, I have made countless contracts. If the deal was of no benefit, then I certainly would not be inclined to agree to it. My agreement with the Cryo-Archon will be the last of my contracts as the Geo-Archon. My contract to end all contracts. As for the bargaining chip that the Tsaritsa used to balance the scales, uncover that answer for yourself in your future journeys.
Information at once. So, Zhongli, what sort of contract did you sign with the Cryo-Archon? Paimon's so curious.
One of the clauses of our contract was not to divulge any of its contents.
You're so petty.